Let's take a journey into a future where our fruits and vegetables are not grown by nature's design, but rather manipulated in a lab. Picture a future where your dinner plate is filled with creations that have been modified on a genetic level and where what you eat is controlled by corporations. Have you considered that this future is actually now? Are we, as advocates for our health and the health of our planet, prepared to alter the very building blocks of life itself? Genetically modified organisms, or GMOs, have invaded our food system quietly and often without our knowledge, and are found in the crops that are the foundation of our diet, and in the processed foods that fill our supermarkets, and even in the livestock that we raise for our meat. As Michael Pollan pointed out in his book, The Omnivore's Dilemma, our supermarkets are full of products that are testing propositions. Genetically modified this, low carb that, organic, non-organic, and so on. It's hard for the average consumer to know what to do. Their introduction has not been without controversy. Concerns about health, environment, and corporate control continue to mount. As we are on this journey today, I encourage you to keep an open mind, question what we consider normal, and to consider the consequences of living in a world where genetically modified organisms are dominant. We will consider alternatives that may shape a healthier future. The issue on whether we should be genetically modifying foods has been considered and debated since the 90s, since their introduction into our food system in the 90s, because of the many health problems linked to their consumption. I will first give you a brief background on GMOs and explain the issues surrounding them today. Next, I will offer some solutions to the issue. And last, I will give you my stance on why we should not have GMOs, with some action steps that you can take in support of this stance. The first thing you need to know is what exactly a GMO is. GMOs, or genetically modified organisms, are plants, animals, or microbes that have had their genetic makeup altered in a laboratory setting. The February 2022 Food and Drug Administration Why Do Farmers in the U.S. Grow GMO Crops page posted on the FDA website explains that most of the GMO crops that are grown today were developed to help prevent crop and food loss and control weeds. Genetic alteration of organisms happens when the DNA makeup of an organism is altered in a way that would not happen in nature on its own. As for GMOs in the food system, there are three main reasons why they were introduced: resistance to certain damaging insects, tolerance to herbicides to control weeds, and higher crop yields. This affects our animal feed production as well. The GMO crops that make up a significant portion of the diets that we feed our livestock, including cows, chickens, and pigs. The research into genetic modification has a long history dating back centuries. With early experimentation in plant breeding, Gregor Mendel's work on pea plants in the mid-19th century laid the foundation for modern genetic testing. In 1982, researchers successfully created the first GMO. The first major genetically modified food introduced on the market in the mid-90s was Roundup Ready soybeans. The April 2023 FDA Agricultural Biotechnology page posted on their website states that in 2020, GMO soybeans made up 94% of all soybeans planted, GMO cotton made up 96% of all cotton planted, and 92% of corn planted was GMO corn. From a profit perspective, GMO crops can be beneficial to both farmers and biotech companies. Farmers benefit from increased yield and reduced labor costs, while biotech companies profit from the sale of herbicide-resistant seeds. According to the article GMOs, Pros and Cons, Backed by Evidence by Ryan Rahman and medically reviewed by Amy Richter, updated in March 2023, posted on healthline.com, states that although current research suggests that GMO foods are safe, there is some concern around their long-term safety and environmental impact. Genetically altering foods can change the nutritional makeup of foods, reducing the amount of certain nutrients that we get and changing the quality of the final product. Most GMO crops are resistant to herbicides such as Roundup. This means that farmers can use Roundup without fear of harming their own crops. Roundup and its active agent, glyphosate, are controversial because animal and test tube studies have linked them to various diseases. There is new evidence that suggests that glyphosate exposure may increase the relative risk of non-Hodgkin's lymphoma by 41%. Although the FDA and WHO have deemed GMOs safe for consumption based on current scientific evidence, critics argue that long-term effects may not have been fully explored. Critics highlight the influence of industry funding on GMO safety research, raising concerns about conflicts of interest and biases. According to the New York Times article from September 2015, the food industry enlisted academics in GMO lobbying war email show by Eric Lipton, Monsanto and its industry partners have also passed out an undisclosed amount of special grants to scientists like Kevin Folta, the chairman of the Horticultural Sciences Department at the University of Florida, to help with biotechnology outreach and to travel around the country to defend genetically modified foods. Now that you have some knowledge of the problem, there seems to be only two solutions to this problem. In order to maintain a good sense of trust in the American food supply and avoid long-term health risks and environmental impacts associated with GMOs, we must encourage two simple solutions. Require mandatory GMO labeling and or outright ban the use of GMOs in agriculture and food production. Mandatory labeling allows customers to make informed choices about the foods and the products that they purchase and promote transparency. This would also build trust with the food supply, in our food supply. And for a ban on GMO, for a comprehensive ban on GMO, we need to enact legislation to ban GMOs, thereby preventing them to enter the food supply. Immediate suspension of commercial production and sale of any GMO foods. Establishing strict control over the import and export of GMO products to ensure compliance with the ban. And launch educational campaigns to inform the public of the risks associated with GMOs. I believe that GMOs should not be in our food system, and we should have stricter regulations or bans because of the potential risks that they pose to human health and the environment and long-term food security. I believe that GMOs should not be in our food system. I firmly believe that every human should have the sacred right to nourish their bodies without the fear of potentially harmful chemicals. I fear for the unintended environmental consequences on the environment from GMO cultivation, and I wholeheartedly believe that consumers have the right to know what they are eating so that they can make informed choices. Benefits if the solutions are adopted: mandatory labeling or strict regulations can help provide the consumers with transparent information to help them make more informed choices. It would reduce health risks and environmental risks. Consequences if these solutions are not adopted: people may unknowingly consume GMOs that pose higher health risks, leading to long-term health consequences, putting public health at jeopardy. Environmental issues could get worse, including super bugs and super weeds that could be very, very bad for the ecosystem, pushing us closer to an environmental catastrophe. We could lose certain animals and plant species altogether. And some action steps that you can take to support these solutions are: you can buy organic foods, support companies that prioritize non-GMO ingredients, support petitions that aim to regulate or ban GMOs, promote farmers markets that emphasize non-GMO organic products, and create and maintain community gardens that provide fresh, healthy produce and educates people on sustainable farming practices. I gave you a brief background of GMOs and explained the issues that surround them today. I offered some solutions to this issue, and I gave you my stance on why I feel GMOs should be banned and what actions you can take to support this stance. As previously mentioned, the issue on whether we should be genetically modifying foods has been considered and debated since their introduction into our food system since the 90s because of the many health problems linked to their consumption. Let's remember the future we were envisioning at the beginning. Our dinner plates are filled with unpronounceable ingredients, the uncertainty of GMOs, and our food supply is in corporate hands. On our plates, we have not just our next meal, but we have the very future of our food system. We need to be aware of the power we possess as consumers and advocates for our health and the health of our planet. This look into the complicated world of genetically modified foods has raised many questions and concerns and hopefully sparked some awareness. Hopefully now we can commit to transparency in our food choices, stronger regulations of GMOs, and thinking about what alternatives are available that prioritize our health and well-being and that of the planet. Let's keep in mind that the food on our plates reflects our values, our choices, and our vision for a healthier future. The power to shape the world lies in our hands. Thank you.